Good afternoon. Today we have with us Mr. Kiatchai Sophastienphong, who is the Vice Minister for Finance from the Ministry of Finance, Thailand. Sir, it's a pleasure to talk to you about your country. Thailand ranks among those countries in the world that have done a significantly good job in financial inclusion. According to the statistics, only 1% remained excluded. Nonetheless, in terms of full financial inclusion, there are certainly some gaps that can be addressed. What would be some of these challenges that you have faced in terms of reaching all segments of the population with complete satisfaction and ensuring that they have appropriate products?
Well, let me start by thanking you for inviting me. I would say Thailand faced a number of challenges. One would be the lack of instruments for promoting savings. The bulk of the instruments tend to be on the credit side. Second, most of the products are not customized for low-income people. They tend to be adopted from the formal commercial banking sector. So this would be a second challenge. The third is the lack of credit discipline. The Thais, like many in other parts of Asia, tend to be big spenders, and sometimes they do not consider what their income is. So because of that, they end up being indebted. Fourthly, they tend to be falling prey to unscrupulous money lenders in the informal sector, and we are trying to address that. Either because they don't know the law, or because the other party is just too crafty. And finally, of course, there's a lot to be done in the area of financial literacy. Yeah, this will be the major challenges, I would say.
Let me pick up on the point that you made about the informal sector. Whereas about 74% of the adult population appears to be banked and has a formal account with some type of formal financial institution, presumably mostly banks, there seems to be a preference, especially among women in the population, to use informal mechanisms or semi-formal community-based mechanisms. From a regulatory standpoint, how challenging has it been to actually regulate and supervise these semi-formal and informal institutions in order to make sure they continue to provide the services that are so much in demand, but at the same time you can ensure stability and protection of the consumer?
Yeah, that's a quite a difficult question to answer. Let me try anyway. First, although, as you mentioned, 75% of the Thai population have access to the formal banking sector. In terms of the money that being lent out, we are talking about less than 25% of the total credit of the system. And because of that, they tend to depend on the informal sector. And the informal sector, as I mentioned earlier, tend to comprise of unscrupulous money lenders who charge interest rate way beyond the legal limit and use, unfair tactics in their loan collection efforts. In terms of regulation, we are using mainly the state-owned commercial banks to supervise some of these activities. For example, the government savings bank who came for the meeting today, they have under them quite a few community-based financial institutions. We don't call them MFI the same way a lot of your countries do, but I think effectively they are MFIs. And what the government savings bank has done is to set up a system procedure to ensure that these community-based lenders follow certain system and procedures. So because of that, the performance record has been quite good. Recovery rate is close to 90%, and there's a credit discipline. If anything, somehow we joke in the government that the poor are better credit than the rich because they stick to their payment. But partly because of the lack of collateral, we require them to make regular payment, and because of the group lending method and peer group pressure and other methods that we use, they tend to pay on time too. Yeah, which is quite different from the formal sector. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, just picking up again on this point of consumer protection or
Right.
client protection. You know, the microfinance sector has been introducing various means of enhancing consumer protection principles.
Right.
The SMART campaign is one of many that has made efforts to introduce fair practices in our
Right.
sector. Have any of these initiatives been introduced in Thailand? Do you have your own mechanisms? How do you feel from the government's point of view that you have adequate protection of customers in Thailand, primarily in the area of savings,
Right.
but also to ensure that there are no unfair or unreasonable collection practices in the event of over-indebtedness?
Well, the first thing we do is to try to bring them under the formal banking system. Under Thai law, if they are authorized lending institution, they can charge up to 36% per annum. But if they are not, they are subject to a loan ceiling of 15%. So we have started introducing new licensing for the smaller financial institution. A few years ago, we have nano finance for small, financial entities. And recently, we also introduced another scheme for a much lesser amount. But soon, we are going to do something a little bit more drastic. Basically, we are going to penalize money lender in the informal sector if they refuse to register and continue to charge, exorbitant interest rates. So we are going to introduce criminal punishment for them. But we would give them an adjustment period, basically to say that, look, since you are active in the informal sector, we would like to register you. And you come around, we would, forget and forgive what you have done in the past. But if you do not comply, then we will go after you, not only for your future lending, but also your past lending. So that's what we are addressing at the moment. Yeah.
Thank you. Last but not the least, I want to move our conversation to the area of technology. As you know, technology-based applications are increasingly popular in our region, and I'm sure Thailand is no different. Practically everyone owns a mobile phone, and a large percentage of the Thai population owns laptops or computers and is also using them. Where is Thailand on the subject of electronic payments and transfers and mobile money? Where would you place yourself, and is that a major part of your future direction?
Yeah, Thailand is an interesting case study in many ways because we introduced electronic banking long before many other countries have done in the banking sector. So the bulk of electronic payments, digital payment, continue to be channeled through the banking system. But we do not deny the fact that increasingly more and more people are using other channels like the mobile telephone, for example. So we are now embracing these changes and trying to adjust. One example is the way the government is working with both the banking sector and the mobile phone companies to implement what we call prompt pay. I think you have heard of it. The idea is similar to what they did in Sweden. Thailand is hoping to follow in that footstep by becoming a cashless society. So under this e-payment system, we would try to make all the payments to be done electronically. We started off by giving incentive to the poor. So starting from 15th of July, some banks have started early. Poor people who have income less than 100,000 baht per year are encouraged to register. And then in the future, all welfare payments will be done electronically. So people who don't know their benefit will immediately gain benefit. Because the moment you register, you're automatically entitled to whatever is available under the law. Whereas a lot of people, they don't know what they are eligible for. That's the first step we are doing. The second step, on the same day, we are trying to encourage Thai people to move away from cash payment. We basically are asking banks to cut down significantly the fees charged on electronic banking. So whoever who sign up from 15 July until 15 August would see their remittance fee drastically cut. And then we are going to increase anything to do with cash payments significantly to make it prohibitively expensive for people to use the cash channel. Not only that, we are providing additional incentives for people to go online. So with the measures we are implementing and with the help of the private sector, including the banks and the mobile company, we believe that we are on the right path to become a cash-based society. That may take some time, but eventually we will get there. Right.
These are all very exciting initiatives.
Right, thank you.
I thank you so very much on
Thank
behalf
you.
of FDC and
Thanks
the
so much.
organizers
Thank you.
for joining us for the interview.
Right.
I hope you've had a good conference.
Thank you.
And I wish you a safe journey home. Thank you again.
I learned so much. Thank you.